Hey everyone, this is Nicole from Kenhub, and in this tutorial, we'll be looking at the main muscles of the head and neck. The head, which you can see in a frontal view without the skin on the right, is the most superior structure of the human body. It is attached to the trunk of the body by the neck and contains the brain, the ears, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. In this tutorial, we will look at some of the main muscles that are found in the head and the neck, including the muscles of mastication, the muscles of facial expression, the suprahyoid and infrahyoid muscles, and the muscles of the lateral neck. Let's begin by taking a look at the muscles of mastication. The first muscle of mastication that we'll look at is the temporal muscle. This muscle is also known by its Latin name of temporalis. Flat and fan-shaped, the temporal muscle is located on the lateral side of the skull, and you can see its shape on the right. Its origin is located in the temporal fossa, which is a large shallow depression on the lateral aspect of the skull and which you can see highlighted in green on the right. The fibers of this muscle then descend through the space between the zygomatic arch and the skull and insert via a thick tendon on the coronoid process of the mandible. The temporal muscle is innervated by the deep temporal nerves, which are branches of the mandibular nerve, the third division of the fifth cranial nerve, the trigeminal nerve. The temporal muscle can be divided into two parts, according to function. The anterior part of the muscle moves the mandible forward or facilitates the protrusion of the mandible, and the posterior part of the muscle, on the other hand, facilitates elevation and retraction of the mandible. In other words, it pulls the mandible upwards and backwards. Activation of both the anterior and posterior parts of the muscle elevates the mandible, leading to the strong closure of the jaw. It should be noted that the temporal muscle is the most powerful muscle of the temporomandibular joint. Because of its size, this muscle can be palpated relatively easily, especially when opening and closing the mouth. The next muscle of mastication we will look at is the masseter muscle. Although the temporalis is the most powerful muscle of the temporomandibular joint, the masseter is the most powerful muscle of mastication, which is another term for chewing. This thick rectangular-shaped muscle is comprised of both a superficial and deep part. The two parts of this muscle both originate from the zygomatic arch. However, the superficial part of the muscle inserts on the masseteric tuberosity on the outer surface of the angle of the mandible, while the deep part of the muscle inserts onto the outer surface of the ramus of the mandible. The entire muscle is innervated by the masseteric nerve, a branch of the mandibular nerve, which is the third division of the fifth cranial nerve, the trigeminal nerve. The function of the masseter muscle is to elevate the mandible, causing a powerful closure of the jaw. When the superficial part of the muscle contracts, it causes the protrusion of the mandible by moving it forward. In addition to closing the jaw, the masseter also helps stabilize tension of the articular capsule of the temporomandibular joint. This muscle can be palpated from the oral cavity at the insertion point of its deep fibers.
This video is not over yet. Continue watching now the full video at kenhub.com. We have lots more videos like this one available to our premium members on our website, not to mention all the fun quizzes, related articles, and atlas sections. So click on the button in the middle to watch the full-length video and master anatomy.